Dr. Yankees Viz, President of the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil, Mr. Darrell Weber, Secretary General of RSPO, Professor Tommy Cole, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First, thank you for having me with you this morning. It's an important initiative, and you're now reaching your 10th year, 10th annual roundtable meeting on sustainable palm oil. As I was coming this morning, I thought we were actually going to have a round table, but it now involves far more collaborators. I'm very happy to see that, and it shows the progress you've made in the last 10 years. Singapore role, of course, is not in the growing or production of palm oil. Very important commodity, and we are not involved in the production of the byproducts either. Our role is basically in the palm oil trade. We have the infrastructure and we have the location next to the world's largest palm oil producers, and that makes us a convenient venue, convenient base for the major resource companies and commodity trading companies. There are currently around 20 trading companies based in Singapore involved in palm oil trading business in one form or another, with other corporate functions based here as well. And their turnover has grown rapidly over the years. Sustainability is gathering pace. Buyers are increasingly requiring palm oil products that come from sustainable sources. As a result, palm oil industry players, such as Wilmar, for example, have been getting their plantations audited so that they can sell their palm oil products to the European markets in particular. RSPO certification will allow for a uniform global standard in ensuring that palm oil is produced in a sustainable way and that there is integrity of the trade in sustainable palm oil. A uniform global standard. The demand for renewable energy sources will increase. There are, of course, many sources of renewable energy, such as solar, wind, and hydroelectric power. Market assessments, however, indicate great potential in biofuel, in particular in palm oil as a source of renewable energy. Palm oil is, in fact, the world's highest yielding oil crop, with an output of 5 to 10 times greater per hectare than other leading vegetable oils. Given its high yield and versatile application in a range of products ranging from fuel to food, palm oil is therefore gaining widespread adoption in favor of other crops. A trade publication, Oil World, has forecasted that in 2020, world demand for palm oil will be over 89 billion pounds, which is almost double the amount produced in 2001. So very rapid growth. In this next decade alone, extremely rapid growth. This rapid growth makes all the more important that we address the environmental and social problems created in the course of palm oil production. The key issue concerns the role of palm oil plantations in deforestation, leading to carbon dioxide emissions, loss of biodiversity, and social conflicts, such as land conflicts with the local community and indigenous peoples. There is also, as Yankees highlighted, there is also a risk of reaching a tipping point in forest conversion, where critical biophysical functions are disrupted, leaving the region increasingly vulnerable to droughts, fires, and floods. Deforestation, as we all know, removes carbon sinks, leading to increased greenhouse gas emissions. In Southeast Asia, a major source of deforestation has been the clearing of forests to create land to grow palm oil. A new study by researchers at Stanford and Yale, a very recent study, highlights the potentially massive rainforest destruction and carbon dioxide emission that could result from the expansion of palm oil plantations in this decade. By combining field measurements with analysis of high-resolution satellite images, the study documents carbon emissions when land is converted to palm oil. The other major problem is haze pollution. Forests in the region continue to be cleared using slash and burn methods. Fires that arise from such practices give rise to the perennial transboundary haze problem. ASEAN has been grappling with this issue for many years. The haze affects the air quality in neighboring countries, quite apart from the effects in the areas where burning occurs. It affects people's health, quite obviously, and increases livelihood, inevitably livelihoods. The Singapore government has been working with local governments in Indonesia, such as in Jambi province, to implement action programs to prevent the occurrence of land and forest fires. These action programs include capacity building and training in firefighting, and initiatives that seek to establish alternative livelihoods for local people. We hope that our contributions help augment the Indonesian government's efforts in combating the transboundary haze problem. However, this is not enough. It was noted at the recent 8th meeting of the Conference of the Parties to the ASEAN Agreement on Transboundary Haze Pollution. This is a regular conference of the parties to the ASEAN Agreement on Transboundary Haze Pollution. It was held on 26th of September in Bangkok, and it was noted that the total number of hotspots that have been recorded in Sumatra so far this year was at its highest level in many years. It stood at 12,750 hotspots as of September this year, which is a little higher than its previous peak year of 2006. We have to do more through joint efforts by the public and private sectors to resolve this problem. The RSPO coalition of collaborators, as Jan Kees mentioned, is therefore very important. You play a crucial role in enhancing corporate social responsibility within the community of oil palm plantation operators. How do we balance the growing demand for palm oil against the impact of producing it? Eliminating palm oil production is not viable. It will simply divert the demand to alternative edible oil crops, which are of lower yield and therefore more likely to cause harm to the environment in the long run. It is thus important to ensure that the palm oil is produced and sourced sustainably. RSPO has gone about its mission systematically. It has established a set of standards that you all know about, called the Principles and Criteria, or P&C, that define the practices for sustainable palm oil production. I understand the P&C which were approved in 2007 are now going through their inaugural review, and we all look forward to enhanced and even more robust principles and criteria, or P&C, for sustainable oil palm production. P&C, incidentally, does not mean private and confidential. On the contrary. All of us have a role to play, be it palm oil producers, oil processors, consumer goods manufacturers, retailers, NGOs, investors, and even consumers. I encourage RSPO to intensify its work with buyers and consumers so that they better recognize the value of sustainable palm oil. We are not yet there. But we must aim to create a virtuous cycle of demand and supply. In other words, a virtuous cycle of consumers, intermediaries across the value chain, and producers with an interest in ensuring sustainable palm oil. I also want to highlight and recognize the work of the NGOs who have worked hard to promote sustainability. The Worldwide Fund for Nature, or WWF, has made use of satellite technology to help identify companies responsible for forest burning. This will enable all stakeholders to apply pressure on errant companies to enhance fire surveillance in their concession areas and eliminate illegal burning practices. In addition, WWF and an NGO coalition called Eyes on the Forest, which comprise WWF Indonesia, Jikalahari, and Wahli Riau, have jointly developed a tool using the Google Maps engine that can illustrate the impact of degraded forests and shrinking habitats for wildlife such as rhinos, tigers, elephants, and orangutan. To better visualize the impacts over time, users of this tool, this tool that uses Google Maps engine, can easily overlay layers of data such as on forest loss, species distribution, restoration priority areas, degraded lands, and government protected areas over satellite imagery. WWF has also been supporting the work of RSPO, encouraging companies to use CSPO in the products they make and sell, and eliminating incentives for palm oil production that lead to the conversion of natural habitats. WWF came up with a palm oil buyer's scorecard to score the palm oil purchasing practices of major European companies that make and sell everyday European products, consumer products. Recommendations were also made to prompt consumers along, encourage consumers to purchase from companies that have committed to sustainable palm oil production. Investors matter. Investors play a key role too. WWF's first of its kind Palm Oil Investor Review 2012 has outlined how investors can play their role more effectively in promoting the development of sustainable palm oil. I encourage investors to actively engage your investee companies to adopt sustainable practices. If all stakeholders work together, if all collaborators work intensively together, we would be able to achieve RSPO's aim of a global supply of palm oil that is produced in a socially and environmentally responsible way. I'm heartened to see that 61 RSPO trademark licenses across 13 countries have been registered within a year, and that many established companies within the industry, food manufacturers, traders and processors and retailers, have pledged commitment towards 100% certified sustainable palm oil by 2015. Nonetheless, there is still a long way to go to achieve the virtuous cycle that I mentioned earlier, the virtuous cycle across the value chain between demand and supply. RSPO remains the most suitable platform for all stakeholders to work together to tackle the environmental and social challenges surrounding palm oil production. And this next decade is critical. So with that, I hope that you will all have meaningful discussions at your upcoming sessions this evening and tomorrow as well. And I'm sure we'll all gain many insights from your deliberations. Thank you very much.